Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive into some real estate trends?
Always ready.
Awesome. Well, this one's all about Parkland, Florida, and we're looking at a specific slice of the market this time.
Oh,
Yeah, so we've got Antonio Ortega LLC's latest market analysis, and we're zeroing in on single-family homes between $500,000 and $750,000. That sweet spot.
interesting. That's a pretty popular price point.
It is, and the data is showing that buyers in this range are really, really discerning.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. They're not just looking for any house at that price.
Right. They want it all.
Exactly. Location, amenities, the whole nine yards.
Okay, so let's get into it. One of the first things that caught my eye was the average days on market.
ADOM.
Yeah, ADOM. Seems like a pretty good way to gauge how hot a market is,
For
right?
sure, ADOM is a key metric, but, it's even more insightful when you look at it alongside the median list price.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Well, think about it. Homes priced right around market value.
Say within 5%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those are selling way faster.
How much faster are we talking?
Like 20 days faster on average than those overpriced by 10% or more.
Wow. That's significant.
It is, and it really highlights how important accurate pricing is in Parkland.
Makes sense. So if you're selling, nailing that price from the get-go is super crucial.
Absolutely. Every day counts in a competitive market.
Okay, so we've got pricing down. What about inventory? What's the story there?
Well, the analysis shows that there are definitely some seasonal patterns in Parkland.
Oh, how's so?
More homes hit the market in the spring and summer.
Makes sense. Families probably want to move during school breaks.
Right. And then things slow down in the fall and winter.
Okay, but what about overall inventory? Has it been growing or shrinking?
Actually, it's been shrinking over the past few years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is interesting.
So that means even more competition for buyers.
You got it. Less inventory definitely ramps up that sense of urgency for buyers. They know they got to move fast when they find something they like.
Especially with those discerning buyers we talked about.
Exactly. They know what they want and they're ready to go for it.
Okay, so discerning buyers, limited inventory, and got to get that pricing strategy on point. What does this tell us about the overall health of the Parkland market?
In a word, strong.
Strong how? Like strong demand.
Yeah, big time. If you look at sales figures from, say, 2018 to now,
2023.
right, 2023, Parkland's been super resilient, even during those uncertain times like the pandemic.
So even when other markets were shaky, Parkland held steady.
It did, and as we talked about, those sales really peak during the spring and summer months.
That family-driven seasonality again.
Yep, family dynamics definitely play a role here.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
But your sources also talk about Parkland's appeal beyond just the data. It's got the green spaces, the great schools, the family-friendly vibes.
Parkland has a lot to offer.
What's your take on that side of things?
Well, I think it's a great place for families. The parks, the rec facilities, it all adds up to that ideal family environment. Plus, it's a very safe community.
That peace of mind is huge, especially for families.
It is. And then you've got that mix of neighborhoods, too.
Like what kind of mix?
Well, you've got your established neighborhoods, and then you have some newer developments with modern designs.
So something for everyone.
Pretty much.
Right.
And in that price range we're talking about.
500 to 750.
Yep. You're going to find spacious homes, high-end finishes,
The good stuff.
the good stuff, and don't forget those sought-after features.
Like pools and big yards. Sounds like Parkland's really got it going on.
Yeah.
But man, this market sounds competitive.
Oh, it is.
I bet having someone like Antonio Ortega, LLC, in your corner would be a game changer.
Absolutely. He's the guy who can help you navigate all this.
Yeah, that local expertise is gold. And speaking of gold, I got to mention Antonio's offer, where he contributes 10% of his fee toward closing costs.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
That's serious savings for buyers.
Especially at this price point. It can
Yeah.
really make a difference.
Absolutely. Okay, so to recap what we've learned so far in this deep dive, we've got discerning buyers, competitive pricing, limited inventory, and Parkland's got that overall appeal as a place to live.
That's a great place.
And we've seen why having a local expert like Antonio Ortega, LLC, can be so key.
Can't stress that enough.
Now, before we jump into part 2, I have a question for you all. If you were to picture yourself living in Parkland, what kind of home and neighborhood would fit your lifestyle best? Think about those parks, the schools, the whole vibe. What's your ideal Parkland life look like? Hold on to that thought. We'll be back soon to keep exploring this awesome market.
Back again, ready to dive back into Parkland.
You bet. So we talked about ADOM and pricing being super important. What other data can shed some light on this competitive market?
You know, it's interesting. Comparing the original list price to the actual served price, that tells a story.
Oh yeah, like what kind of story?
Well, you can see how negotiations went down, see if buyers are willing to pay over asking.
And are they paying over asking? I mean,
A lot of times, yeah,
Mhm.
especially in those popular neighborhoods. And for homes with those must-have features, people are ready to shell out a little extra to snag their dream place.
So it's not just about setting a good price to start. You got to be ready for bidding wars too.
Exactly. Having a sharp real estate agent like Antonio Ortega LLC, someone who can handle those negotiations.
Someone in your corner.
Exactly.
That makes a big difference.
Huge difference.
And speaking of Antonio, his offer to chip in 10% of his fee towards closing costs, man, that's got to be a game changer in a market like this.
No doubt. It takes some of the pressure off buyers, you know?
For sure. Okay, let's switch gears for a second.
Okay.
What about investing in Parkland? We've talked about how desirable it is, how strong the demand is.
Yeah.
What makes Parkland attractive for investors, especially those thinking long term?
What's cool about Parkland is that it's got this stability, you know? But there's also potential for growth.
Right.
The city really works to keep its standards high, plus we've got that limited inventory.
Yeah, we keep coming back to that.
Right. It all creates an environment where property values tend to hold steady and often go up over time.
So if you invest in Parkland, there's a good chance you'll see a return.
It's looking good. I mean, no market's a sure thing.
Of course, of course.
But Parkland's fundamentals are strong. Look at the numbers. Property values have been climbing for the past few years.
And that limited inventory is fueling that growth.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's reassuring for investors. We've been focusing on that 500 to 750 range.
Right.
But I imagine Parkland has options at different price points.
Oh, totally. Parkland's got something for everyone.
Like what?
Well, if you're looking for luxury, you've got those amazing estates.
Big houses, lots of land.
The whole package. Then on the other end, you've got townhomes and condos.
More affordable options.
But you still get to enjoy that Parkland lifestyle.
So no matter your budget, you can find your place in Parkland.
That's the beauty of it.
And whether you're going for that condo or that dream estate, having an experienced agent like Antonio by your side,
Makes all the difference.
totally. And don't forget, Antonio Ortega LLC is putting 10% of his fee towards closing costs for his buyers.
Unbelievable.
It really is. All right, we're getting close to wrapping up our Parkland deep dive.
Time flies.
But before we get to our final thoughts, I want to remind everyone about Antonio Ortega LLC and that awesome offer. He's the go-to person for buying or selling in Parkland.
Absolutely.
All his contact info and details about that closing cost contribution are on his website,
Easy to find.
AntonioOrtegaLLC.com. We'll be back in just a sec to wrap things up. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Parkland real estate.
Feels like we just got started.
I know, right? Time flies when you're talking real estate.
Yeah.
But hopefully by now, you've got a good feel for this market.
Definitely a lot of interesting insights.
Okay, before we wrap up completely, I want to go back to something we touched on earlier.
Okay.
That's the importance of having a trusted local expert in your corner.
Super important, especially in a fast-paced market like Parkland.
Right. Knowing the ins and outs can make or break a deal.
Absolutely.
And having someone like Antonio Ortega LLC, who really knows the area.
Knows the trends, the neighborhoods, the whole picture.
Yeah, that's invaluable.
You need someone who can guide you through the whole process.
We are advocate.
Exactly.
And as we've talked about, Antonio's commitment to his clients,
It's top-notch.
it really is. From those quick pre-qualification letters
Oh, yeah.
to that 10% contribution towards closing costs.
He goes above and beyond.
He does. So if you're thinking of buying or selling in Parkland, you've got to reach out to Antonio Ortega LLC.
Best decision you can make.
Seriously. All his info and details about that closing costs offer are on his website,
Easy to find.
AntonioOrtegaLLC.com. Check it out.
You won't regret it.
Okay, now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about.
I like it.
We've talked about what makes Parkland so great. The homes, the schools, the community, that competitive market.
And how to make smart choices.
Right. But here's the question. Beyond all of that, what do you think is the most compelling reason for someone to choose Parkland as their home?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What is it about Parkland that truly makes people want to put down roots there? Is it that peacefulness, the family-friendly vibe, being close to nature, or something else entirely?
I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Parkland has so much to offer. But what really resonates with each person is going to vary. It's all about finding the right fit.
Finding that place where you truly belong.
You got it.
So think about that. What makes Parkland special for you? How does it match up with what you're looking for in a community? And if you're ready to explore Parkland further,
Do it.
head over to AntonioOrtigalLLC.com.
You'll find tons of info there, and you can connect with a true local expert who can help you navigate this market.
It's been awesome diving into Parkland with you.
Likewise.
And to all of you listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Parkland real estate market. We hope you learned a lot about this awesome community. And until next time, happy house hunting.